Tom Springer.
Hey everyone, welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. If you're looking at the bearded one, it's Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, 2 out in Hawaii, 5 a.m. tomorrow out in Indonesia, and about 9 a.m. tomorrow out in Australia. Welcome everybody to Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. If this is your first time visiting, welcome to the show. My name is Tom Springer and I am the host. If you are a repeat offender, you know who you are. I also call you my family. Welcome back. Tonight, I am bringing on someone who I already warned her all about you all. I already warned her about myself. I warned her what the show is going to be like, and I just told him just bringing her straight on and throwing her to the wolves. Say hi, be nice to her, all that wonderful stuff. But let's say hi to Miss Kelly Shaffer. So let's bring on Kelly. Hello, Kelly.
Hey, there we are. Oh,
So,
fun.
hello. So,
hello.
That was my intro. You got to see it for probably the first time. So people are popping in to say hi. So Stu, he's out of Hawaii. He's out of Hawaii. He's out of Texas.
Yeah. Texas?
Yeah.
That's nothing like Hawaii.
Uilani Ku'ule is from Hawaii. That's the name I saw.
There you go.
So, and a lot of people will pop in and say hello. See, so Uilani Ku'ule also goes by Mary.
Yeah, you can cut the I off the end of my name, though. I don't do eyes. They're too cute.
I know, cute. You just tell. Yeah. And Miss Nikki's saying Kelly, spelled correctly. Welcome.
Yeah.
But
I think you're probably related to her, though.
Which one?
The Nikki Springer.
My wife? Yeah, I probably am. Maybe. Wendy's popping in to say hi. This is going to happen. Everyone's going to pop in and say hi. So I'm going to go ahead and start. We'll just wave and everything else as they come in. But I always like to tell people either how we met or how I found you. And you were.
Gee, I don't even know the answer to any of those.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
There's Greg. Greg's popped in and say hi. Hi, Greg. So the way we met is simply because I stalked you enough to where we had enough mutual friends. And
you met the minimum mutual friend portion of the friend request.
You kept popping up. People saying, "Oh, you might have a friend. This one is a friend of yours. This one's a friend of yours." I'm like, "All right, Kelly. Look, we have some of the same friends. We must have the same abnormalities." So
we have the same abnormalities. Yep.
So I'm like, so we'll go ahead and I'm going to request a friend, and you were dumb enough to say yes. So this is on you.
I was dumb enough.
Remember, you're the one who said yes. So
yes, I said yes.
From here on out. But that was
that's backing me into consent, right? I knew when I said yes.
Sure, we'll say yes. Yeah, we'll go with that. There was no coercion. Oh, I should have asked you ahead of time. Are you? We are allowed to cuss on here. I just need to know if you're going to.
I'm a potty mouth.
All right, then I will put that up. That's all I need to know.
I have been a potty mouth all my
I was going to ask you ahead of time, but I just didn't.
I will probably be spewing.
Oh well, I do if I don't unless my guests do. But now you just gave me free reign, so we're on.
Yep, there you go.
Oh my goodness, Miss Taryn Kerper is popping in to say hello. Hello, Miss Taryn. So hi, Taryn. So that's how I found you, is simply by you popping up.
Stalking me.
I use that word very well. I
didn't even know you were there.
I mean,
that's how good you were.
I mean, I stalked you enough that I'm able to put this up, and you had no idea that I even knew it. So that's how well my stalking is that I even came to you first and said, "Hey,
my babies."
So see, for those people who are having a hard time, so no, I didn't get to give you some information in the back because we were trying to get your sound hooked up. But whenever someone asks a question, I will normally post it up on here so we read it out loud first before we answer.
I like it.
And a lot of it is simply because people listen to us rather than watch us at a lot of the places.
Got it. I got it. I
completely
understand.
You're randomly going off on a tangent and without a question. You're just all of a sudden rambling. So, so just so you're aware. But everyone's popping in to say hi. I'm really happy about that. So hello, everyone. Kelly, do me a favor. Now that people know that we met randomly out of the blue of absolutely nothing.
Yes.
to start off with. Say hello, introduce yourself, and tell us
Hello.
what you do and what got you into it.
Oh, what do I do? What don't I do? I've pretty much taken the paranormal seriously. It's no longer a hobby. It's a Schedule C thing for me. um, I've been experiencing the paranormal probably pretty much all my life, but never was able to actually talk about it because of living in a religious cult. So when I finally broke out of that, I started realizing that through going to therapy and stuff like that, that what I thought was what everybody else experienced
Mm-hmm.
isn't what everybody experiences, and I was so special.
Right.
So I it's taking me a while to ease myself into all of it
Mm-hmm.
because it's a lot to unpack when you just get surprised with it at about 58. So um yeah, so I've gone in and I started out as a ghost hunter, turned that into a paranormal researcher, and yes, there is a difference.
There is a difference.
Yeah, there's a huge difference. Paranormal adventuring led me into writing my book, which is the Paranormal Pages.
Hmm.
This one is called Collection 1 because I just started Collection 2.
Duh.
Yes, duh. I started Collection duh. So there's going to be more. So this one's available on Amazon, Kindle, paperback, hardback, and if you hold on to it, I'll sign it for you for free. Let's
Right
see.
now. Here, I'll just
Let's
post
see.
that. That would have gone
Okay,
to everyone. I just posted on there the paranormal
there
pages.
you go.
Edition.
Collection 1. Yeah. Okay, so then from there, I hooked up with JD Hill, who we have a podcast together. We're on indefinite hiatus at this point.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to tell me that I'm a medium, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm really not. Inside the back of my head going, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Somebody recognized it,
Yeah.
And so it's trying to ease into all of that and remain sane to all of this because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a lot that people don't believe, which
Yeah.
is really but then again, I look at all the people that are in the field, and I mean, we got master's degrees. We've got people that are, geniuses that are chasing after the paranormal.
Yeah.
And it just all walks of life. So there's got to be something here that is true.
It's yeah. I mean, even on that, I mean, I'm the same way. I literally walked into this 3 years ago. My awakening was very late.
Oh, only 3 years ago?
Yeah, so I've been doing this for 3 years, and I started the show shortly afterwards because I had nowhere to turn. And I'm like, all right, like-minded people who are lost, come visit, and we'll see if we just make sure we don't break the universe together.
Well, my awakening was separate of when I took hold of the paranormal. I took a hold of the paranormal around 2010, and I didn't have my awakening until 2019.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because mine actually happened on my first investigation.
Nice.
I actually had an apparition walk in on me to start talking to me, and I was with two mediums, and they were like, "Who are you talking to?" I'm like, "The lady standing in the corner." And they're like, "Why can you see her?" And I'm like, "What?
You
Why?"
can't?
Yeah, and they were like, "Hold on a second, let's talk about this." So Jessica has a is our.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. I like that
Jessica
one.
is saying, "Can you explain the difference between an entity and a ghost? Because I've told my sister I felt and seen both. So can you tell us the difference?"
I'm sure there is a difference, but in my mind, they're all the same because I'm not chasing after either one. I'm chasing after the energy that's remaining after a living creature passes away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for that energy signature. I'm looking for the apparitions. I'm looking for which is basically the energy manifesting. So I would say that a ghost would have to be something that was a human, and an entity could be anything. That
So
would be my definition of it, but to me, they're all the same.
I can step in here and kind of help with this too. You're right. A ghost is what other people call spirits. Spirits are ghosts, what we see as human.
See, I'm a
Um,
blonde, but I'm
the-
not stupid.
and if I actually had hair, I'd be blonde too. Um, or just really gray, as we can see down here. But an
Yeah, it'd probably
entity,
be gray by now.
right. The entity is pretty much the gray man, the man in the shadow man.
Yeah, but what is the see? We don't know what gray man is
We
yet.
don't know, but it's something that we
You
can't
can't.
we
You
can't just
can't.
specifically. A lot of people were like, okay, so this is a ghost or this is a spirit because it responds to. I feel like it's my mom. I feel like it's my grandmother. I feel like it's something. But the ones we don't know, the things we don't know, are more along the lines of what people would consider entities because they can't help. They can't go. I feel this is my relative. I feel this is something along this line. So we give it just two different terms,
I have
even
a
though they
debate.
may not be different
I
terms.
have a debate point on that.
Okay.
You claim that an entity is something that you do not know. So therefore, when you go into a haunted location and you meet up with the family that used to live there, however you didn't know them, are they entities or are they ghosts?
Mm.
Because you
Basically,
don't know them.
right. But I basically get off of what the information they give me.
Ah,
Because I'm a psychic and a medium. So I basically get up, as you are. I could have told you that. But, so Jessica gives a perfect example. The entity I've experienced was heavy and feeding off negative energy from people.
I would have then let's classify it differently. I would classify a ghost as being residual energy left over from a living creature passing on, and I would put entity into you would have to go into a possible classification of a different life form.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I
Because we don't know, honest to God, you don't know if that kind of stuff's dead or not.
Right, true,
You don't.
right. Because when we talk about and I use the words freely, I'm not afraid of them at all. But when I run into things like dogman or wendigo or anything like that,
That's
they
weird stuff.
they right, but they are entities. They
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
currently
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
their their shape, their form, whatever else is what that is. But
Mhm.
is it still living, or was it something that lived that passed on, but now it carries the entity of evil?
No, I think it might
Um,
be. I think it might actually be another life form. Life form or death form, whatever you want to look at it is. I mean, we can't say that that's dead. It's
right,
certainly not dead in
right.
definition.
But is it
So,
considered an undead? Because
well, then it would be alive, right?
because so if we're looking at something like um, a Wendigo, that's apparently a Native American shaman who went evil and surrendered himself to darkness, and he's taken on that form. But he's been dead for years and years and years. And he's trying to take life. Um, that could be someone that's been dead for years, but the Wendigo lives on. It's basically like something that he has turned into, but his human side is completely gone at that point. And now they become shapeshifters.
I think we're moving away from the original question in that we can classify it under two things. Entities are
Okay.
basically energy that may or may not be human,
Yeah. And that's what and just
and ghosts are remaining energy from living creatures.
yeah, and that's what Jessica's saying. The one I experienced was
Yep.
definitely alive, but not human, or in our sense
Mhm.
alive. So
Yeah, I know exactly what she's talking about with that. I experienced something like that in a I don't know if I can say it or not. Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
oh yeah.
There was just one that it just nasty, just really, really nasty, and it started off with I was underneath the headset in Estes with it,
Yeah, you can do a Nestus, yep.
and that's when it's like knocking on the door. Talk
Mm-hmm.
for me, talk for me, talk for me, and it's a little girl,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking, I really need to like break out of here for right now because I don't think you are a little girl.
Right.
So I got out of it, and when we went back in, it was no longer with me. It had gone to the other person that was under the headset. We were doing a double Estes,
Mm.
and it went over to her. It went to my friend. I don't know if I can say her name or not. My friend R. So, well, we haven't published this. We haven't published this investigation yet, so I don't
Okay.
know how much I can talk about with it. It was one of those investigations that, if I didn't believe in the paranormal right then, I sure as shit did afterwards.
Yeah.
That was freaky and totally unreal. What's the next question?
Nikki is asking, well, would poltergeist and creepy crawly shadow things be entities?
I'd say entities on both of those because poltergeist energy is not usually a living thing coming back.
Normally
And the
created
creepy
by
crawly shadow things, if you can't crawl on the ceiling as a human, you're not going to be crawling on the ceiling as a ghost.
Right. Unless I was
So that's something else.
unless I was bit by some really cool radioactive spider. You know, then I'll start
And
again.
then that you'd be wearing red and blue, and there'd be
Right.
other
There'd
be
other signs. There'd be
other signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jessica's saying that Jessica responded with, my feelings and sense. This one is actually from my hometown, and it is trapped between two lakes of water.
What is?
I believe the entity that she's dealing with. Either she is or the entity is.
Have you considered that might be a element?
That's where I was going to go next, because elementals is where...
Elementals?
Yeah, elemental. I actually see, hear, talk, and deal with them just like I am you.
There's a lot of elements here in Tennessee.
Yeah, there's
elementals. Tons. A lot of elementals.
Yep. There's tons.
And it's very interesting being part of discovering the elementals that are out there. I literally was seeing fairies dancing in trees.
Oh.
At night, no, and now let's put this out there right immediately, because I know that's going to be the first debunk.
Yep.
It's a lightning bug. No, there are no lightning bugs when it's 40 degrees outside. Okay. Little tiny lights dancing in the trees.
Yeah.
And never the same spot, like a spotlight would be, or a light in the distance coming through the leaves as the leaves move.
Right.
No, it was bizarre. It came, I think one of them came as close as about 30 feet away. And all it was just this light ball. That's it. It was just cool.
Do you maintain a fae garden?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Fairies and I usually don't get along, so.
Okay. Nikki's asking what state you're in. You're in
Tennessee. Do I live in Tennessee?
Yeah, you live in Tennessee. Yeah.
Tennessee.
She asked what state do you live in. I'm just trying to get a sense of where you investigate. So.
Where do I investigate? I will investigate anywhere. I've investigated West Coast. I've investigated East Coast. I've investigated in Illinois, Indiana. I'm committed to going anywhere. And as soon as I can save enough money, I'll be going to Scotland to ghost hunt with my cousin.
Okay. So Jessica's coming on, and she says, I think the water has it contained. And then she says, it can only infect people in that area, and then it travels through those people to beyond the area it actually lives.
You might want to look at that being a self.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got to go see if I'm getting the right one, because I'm just now starting. I'm just now starting to really get into that.
There's a couple.
No, that's an air. That's an air. I want the water one. Because what you're describing here is something I've read in a story. What are they? Water elemental is called a what? Anyway, keep talking. I'll keep finding it. I'll talk as I do this.
Nikki also wants to know, do you find a certain location in the nation to be more haunted than others?
Ooh, it's called an Unden or an Unden. Also occasionally known as a water nymph, a water sprite, or a water fairy. I would start looking at it possibly being that because I have heard in stories that exact thing that you're describing.
So
Okay,
I,
so
I
what
do,
place is most haunted?
yes, I do want to straighten something out though first before we get too far between the elementals and what you're describing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The actual four state of elementals, earth, wind, water, fire, are
Mm-hmm.
actually environmental. They're not anything else. And they are as old as time can possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not ethereal or they are not anything along those lines. They actually have their own status compared to what
Mm-hmm.
a lot of other the elementals are identified as. There's a lot of different terms for elementals. I just want people to understand that because a lot of people will start listening to the terms that we're using and confuse them with each other. So the water nymph, and the other ones are not true, just straight up water elementals. They've been given that term, but a water elemental is strictly nothing but an element of water that is doing the only thing it does is to heal the earth. That is it. That's what all four of the identified elementals, and this is just coming from my side of the Native American side.
I
Um,
was just gonna say, and
so
there's other
yeah,
paths
right.
of
Right,
belief
and that's why I'm
with
just saying that.
regards to
That's
those.
what I'm saying. For mine, is for the Native American side, for our history back. It's strictly all four of those are strictly identified to heal the earth. They can care less what people are doing. People are simply in the way, and their job is to heal the earth, so they don't have like conscious like people do or anything else, and they don't try anything. They just do what they do. Some people find it angry. Some people call it hate. Some people call it whatever because it cracks your foundation, but your foundation is on a piece of land that it shouldn't be worked on or anything else. But so there's a lot of different ones. Because if I look at my north side, now we're talking into the side that you're talking on, is a lot of the other elemental listings. But those for my Icelandic north side, those actually go over there as well. And because I also research a lot of those. So it's kind of interesting how so many people have so many different ways to talk about things. And and I know that I am not an expert in anything. I am still learning on absolutely everything. Um, but I just want to make sure that the audience knows too that there's different. The same word can mean different things for other things. So
I'm talking about the paranormal.
I know. And now my wife wants to know what your is there a person in the is there a place in the any place that you have gone to that is more haunted than
Yes,
other
it's more
places?
haunted than um everything. I'm going to answer no to that because it doesn't matter where you go in the world, there's going to be paranormal activity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whether you see it or not, whether you feel it or not, whether you hear it or not, it doesn't matter because it's going to go on whether we know it or not. So, where have I had the most fun?
Yeah.
The
That way.
most fun I had was at Randolph County Asylum up in Winchester, Indiana. Right now, that's my top place.
What happened? What happened?
I saw some really cool stuff. I saw a really. I can show him a really cool picture if you want to see it.
Absolutely.
I think you can make it so I can screen share.
Yeah, I
Let
should
me
be able
find
to.
it. Okay,
Um,
I can show it.
let me see if I can
Oh
grab
yeah, that just dropped down.
if I can figure out how to do that.
I might be able to do it. I can see the button, but I don't know if it's been activated or if it has to be activated.
Yeah, I have a
Where is there's my extreme. Photos. Yeah, there it is. Okay, let's see here. Which one's the best one? That's the best one. Here
so
we go.
is it letting you bring it up?
Hold on, let me make it bigger.
Okay.
Yes, I've got it almost up to where I can. Okay, there we go. All right, screen share. You ready? Oh, this is fun. Entire screen right there. Then
Yep.
you have to put it in. It's in the
Seen.
green room. those are not two investigators at the end of that hallway.
That is awesome. So,
oh my god!
How long did it last?
I started seeing it form from. I think I can move through these. I'll be moving backwards. Okay. This is it beginning to form, and we're looking down the hallway, going, "There's nothing fucking here. There's nothing here." Got this guy standing there. He's like, "Kelly, there's nothing down here." Now notice the heat signatures. I am.
That's what I'm watching.
Because that's been fun. That also goes back to the entity thing. I mean, this entity puts off a heat signature. Oh, this was another part of it. I'm gonna go back this way now. Okay, so I think that's the first one. Okay, so what I see is a black column. I'm on the thermal gun, thermal camera, whatever it is, thermal camera. And I'm looking down the long hallway down in the basement, and I see this black pyramid, or not black pyramid, black post. I'm like,
you're seeing it through the thermal, but not with
nothing, And now suddenly I realize that something's happening because that big black post has just become two big black posts. And then the two big black posts became white black posts. And then the white posts began to form. And when they ended up, that's what they looked like. And they have a heat signature. A very, very cold heat signature, but they have
definitely
a heat
separated
signature.
than the air around it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is very, very, very
So
bizarre.
Who did you send out there to make sure it wasn't anybody?
I went out with Scott Ruger. He runs trying to think of the group that he runs, but Scott Ruger, he had a whole bunch of people get together and go out there, and we did it. We actually did it twice. The second time I was out there, I couldn't find the entity again. But it was so much fun catching that thing. I mean, I was standing there just shaking with the camera, holding it as tight as I could not to let it shake. There was a guy behind me holding on to me, looking over my shoulder, making sure I wouldn't faint backwards. I got a guy over here telling me there's nothing down the hallway, Kel. There's nothing down the hallway. And I got another guy over here going, there's nothing down the hallway. And I'm like, oh shit, there isn't.
So Rosie's asking, and I see why. Rosie's asking, do they have reflections? Because on the ceiling up there, you can see like two yellow marks that seem like it's the same heat.
Well, okay, so I'm going to have to say that the column of light covered that entire area from the ceiling clear down to the floor. So that still could be part of the entity. Okay. I'm just going to put it down that way. But yeah, it does look like a mirror, but there are no mirrors.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was like a flat ceiling that maybe the heat was resonating, identifying that they are a different heat signature that you'd be picking up. Even though it's lesser than a human heat signature, if they're a hotter heat signature and they're putting off heat up the top, that's still going to put the heat, possibly up to where they are.
And I didn't take any up there by the time this had happened. And this was the first time I used this damn camera. I didn't know how to record. I didn't know how to take pictures. I am lucky I got these.
I'd say that was a good use of it then, to figure out how to use it. So now you're like,
I just kept pulling that trigger as hard as I can the whole time, hoping something.
So now you're like, okay, I'm sold. I love this thing. Where do I buy 4 more?
Right, exactly. How do I buy 4 more? And we use it at every single location.
Rosie's got a question for you. And I don't know this answer, so I hope you do. Rosie's asking, why was there so many asylums on the east to mid-east? On the East Coast?
Because there was a bunch of rich people that lived there, and they didn't want to take care of their elderly, and they didn't want to take care of their weirdos.
Well, there you go.
That's what I've been told.
Like I said, I hope you have the answer, because I had no clue. I just think it's because people needed some place to spend money. So.
Well, not only do people tell me their stories out of the blue when I'm here on Earth, But I have people telling me their stories when I go to locations, and that's just one of the
Cool.
stories. Yeah, they said nobody wanted to take care of us. Nobody wanted to have us around. We were too weird. We were too dumb. We were too whatever.
Today it's just misunderstood. Yeah,
Might be the answer.
Today it's just misunderstood. So yeah. So yep.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, taking us back to there.
You want to stop sharing?
It doesn't matter.
I think you just kick him out.
I was going to leave it up there for if anyone else wanted to see it for a little bit more. I can always blow it back up.
Okay, I'll make it a little bit bigger.
I can always blow it back up. There you go.
There,
so that way people coming in, they can go, oh, all right.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And Wendy states, and the old way to divorce was commit the spouse. Problem was solved.
Yeah. Problem solved. Yeah. There were so many women. Well, I'm also believing that there were so many people.
I have one of those.
Sorry, that's the asshole train.
I have one of those too.
Well, I love trains, and it doesn't bother me. I would have that window open.
I sleep through it.
But I also have asshole train conductors that love to just blow their horn from one crossing to the next crossing to the next crossing to the next crossing, all the way through town. They don't have to
because we don't have the proper blocks before cars, so cars don't go around. So they have to blow. They have to blow the horn going across one position. But they really love doing it at midnight and 4 a.m. So
you got one of them, huh? Yeah, I got the same guy. He's down here too.
Nikki also wants to know: is there a place that you won't go back to because it scared the crap out of you, or just had really bad juju?
There's a place that made me stop hunting for 18 months.
Get an attachment?
Oh. Nope, but something happened that I can't explain, and I was in over my head. Yeah, and it really worried me because when you're in charge of a team and your team gets infected, that's the only way I have to put it. That's on you. You should have known. You should have been watching that person. You should have got him out of there. So it took me. So I took some time away from it and thought about it a lot. And then I restarted up as just underneath myself. And everyone on the team, except for our resident skeptic, Jim Corley, has been or have come to me and said, can we go ghost hunting with you?
Nice.
That's how I've gotten every single person on my team. Corley, I forced him to go because he was my only friend.
You didn't give him an option? You were like, hey, I'm not going.
I didn't give him the option. No, you're going with me.
I'm not going by myself, so you have to come with me.
Yeah, you're going with me, dude. Just
I'll buy
enjoy.
Pizza. So, yeah, that type of thing.
And if you wet your pants, yay, I did it.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Is there, so one of the questions I like to ask.
Oh, we didn't say where that place was. It's Mokelumne Hill. Mokelumne Hill, Ledger Hotel. Yeah, I stayed in the room. I stayed in the room that everybody talks about. The one with where he supposedly died. He didn't. I've read all the news reports. He did not die in that room. So there's something in there, though. And there was something in there from the first moment that we were in that room. I think it was number 13. I'd have to go back and look at my notes. But it's also one of the stories in the book.
Jessica wants to know, how do you protect yourself and your team from these infections? Well,
number one, it is the number one rule on the team. If you don't show up with your protection, I have protection oil. But everybody is required to have some form of protection on them. Whatever they consider to be spiritual protection. For me, I use crystals and I use oils and salt and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I have friends that carry little bags of different things with them when they go in, knowing that's a protection bag.
Yeah, and apparently I have a pretty strong backup here. So
I'm trying to see what Rosie's saying with this, but Rosie's saying, so would you see them more with going in with the intent of seeing something?
Good question. Ooh, I've actually considered that. I have looked at it both ways. and there is no correlation. It can be you go in and intend to see something, and you see something, you go in, you don't see anything, which was the last one that I had. And
Yeah. Has there?
yeah, I didn't expect anything on the
I'm
last
kind of
one.
asking this because of Nikki and I have also went out on investigations with other teams, and one that we were part of.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been somewhere um, where because you are female, it has basically like shut down on you? Like, nope, you're not allowed to talk, type of thing.
Oh, I have stood in maybe not because I'm female, but it's because I'm from the
Oh yeah,
north. I have had to stand in the front room of a southern mansion and report and repeat uh, the Confederate Pledge of
yeah,
Allegiance. I did it. I did it. Yep.
yeah. See, and I knew because
And they were congenial to me that night. They weren't real. They weren't real spectacular, but they
yeah,
were
we
okay.
our old team had three females on them, and they are cut from the same cloth as you, where they are not quiet, they are not shy. And so when they would go in and they
Yeah.
would ask questions, it's almost like everything was shut down, especially with like older homes, where the gentlemen were like in the cigar room or in the other room, and the ladies from their own little parlor. And
Oh, the Thomas House out in Red Bowling
okay,
Springs has a guy that's in the study. He's the same
yeah,
thing,
that's
but he also gets attached onto the really cute ones too. So
yeah that we yeah
he's a
we've been to
hoot.
them, and they're like, why is a lady asking a question? That's not her place. Why? So
Yeah,
it's interesting to,
yeah.
to be in places like that that do that. It's not understanding that.
Well, it's. I mean, if they're ghosts, if they're left over from
Yeah,
living people,
that's what
then they are as in life as they are
that's
in
what
death.
they
They
knew.
are in
Yeah,
death as they are in life. I mean,
that's
it's just I'm going to be a loudmouth, potty
right,
mouth.
and that's
So
what they know. So, yep.
and I'll probably be hanging out by myself somewhere.
Nikki's asking you specifically about crystals. She says, are your crystals
Mm.
your typical black tourmaline, tiger eye, hematite? Are there any others you use? And she says, I love my crystals. So,
Another one that you are missing there is smoky
okay.
quartz. And smoky quartz is one of my go-tos. Tourmaline is always a go-to for protection. Um, but because of the layers that I have of
Hmm.
gifts, that's the only way to put it. I use obsidian as most for most of my
Yeah, mine is
protection.
mostly obsidian and jet. I really like jet. Uh,
Jet's a good one. Jet's a little
yep,
soft
I
for
like jet.
me. I use a lot of the rocks that are not found in most
Yeah,
rock stores. I go
yeah.
looking for them.
Um,
The fun ones, the really weird
yeah,
ones.
and Nikki brought up a place we went to about that same comment. She said one of the places we were at had a military room, and Tom was told I could not go
Uh-huh.
in. And I've also been told not to ask questions.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm prior military. One of the guys I was with is also prior military, and we can go in and ask questions to the gentleman because he's a retired colonel. And it was a military room that had a lot of different uh, re- older military stuff in it. But there was one gentleman who basically resided in the room, who was like the protector of the room, and he was a retired colonel. And when she'd go to come in, he's like, "No, she is not allowed into this room. This is not where she's allowed." So she could sit outside and listen to the questions being asked and everything else, but she could not physically come into the room. So yeah,
wow.
yep. So it's been different for her. It's interesting to see some of the places because I mean the public places we go to um, don't seem to really have that guy girl separation, but when you go into the private residencies that are they're
Yeah, mine. Yeah, mine was a
yeah they're
private
more they
residence.
seem to be
Yeah.
more restrictive on who's allowed to do what.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it's
Yeah.
and it's interesting to watch that and try to engage with that and try to see if by the end because we would do weekend investigations. Um, by the end of the weekend, could we break that and allow like a woman to speak or allow her into into the veterans room or something else? Is there something that they would change by us being there and being nice and being respectful and just doing what we want to do, which is investigate to find out the truth? Could we change their minds in that short amount of time on a weekend to say, yeah, it's okay if she asks me a question now, or yes, she can come into the rooms or anything else, to see if they had that adaptation or if they just stayed in their old ways. So Ajang is asking you a question too. Ajang is actually one of our people on here from Indonesia. And she says, how do you deal with your feelings when your first investigation at the location is very scary for you?
Well, me being scared has gone by the wayside. Yeah. There's rooms I won't go in because I just don't care to deal with the energy that's in there. But me being scared, it's been a long time ago. In fact, you don't want me scared in a location. We have a rule on my team that there are no jump scares. Right. Period. Yeah. Because if you try to jump scare me, you might not be getting
right. You might need a fist. Yeah.
And so I did break that rule. I got my team so good one day. I couldn't resist, and nobody was going to get hurt. Everybody was going to be fine. I played it all out in my head, and it happened just the way I thought it would. That I got everybody. Let's see. But yeah, look at it this way. I look at it this way. What's there to be scared about? You're just interacting with energy. That's it. It's like interacting with a light bulb.
And you're literally going there to do that.
So, yeah. So why be afraid of something that you're trying to make happen? Right. So I know that the body naturally reacts to something that you don't know, and you're instantly going to be thrown into a flight. Well, that's where you have to control yourself and just go into, okay, what am I experiencing? What is going on here? And that's when you start making your observations and you slip into what I call the scientist mode, where you're just being logical, and logic has nothing to do with emotions.
Yeah.
So after I get out, though, when I'm out, it's like, the last location where it was really intense, I was outside walking and pacing, trying to work that energy out. So you just have to, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's just things that are going to be new in your experience.
All right. I got a question for you.
Okay.
For new investigators, top 5 things.
Don't buy any equipment. Buy a flashlight. Buy a voice recorder. That's it. Yeah. That's all you need. That's it. That's and don't, what you see on the television shows isn't going to happen. No, that's not going to happen. Those guys are out there for a week with 3 sets of clothes that all match so that they can get everything in sync over that whole week of time. Yeah. So you're not going to walk into a location and go, oh my gosh, that ball just moved. No, you're going to be waiting for a very long time. So find a very nice, comfortable chair that's really portable. Let's see what else. Be very cautious about who you hunt with. There are people in this field that are not good people. And they are very dangerous. So be careful with who you
I always try to tell people, don't antagonize.
Yeah, don't antagonize. Yeah, there's a proper place for everything. And yes, if you're going to be antagonizing, you're not going to be antagonizing. You're going to be defending. Yeah, you're going to be defending a team member. You're going to be defending the whatever. There's no reason for antagonizing.
If it's going to show itself one way or the other, it's probably going to do it when you're being respectful and everything else, rather than trying to call it out.
But I have the gift of the mom voice, so that gets their attention real fast, and they'll stop.
Jessica wants to know, How would you essentially cleanse the area from anything negative while still interacting with the ones that mean no harm?
You would probably, I mean, you're on location and you're on location and you're extremely
Right.
limited, first of all. I've found that when you got a negative entity in there that's just not letting you do what you want to do, step out for a while, go have something to eat or something, and come back and see if it's still there. If it's not, then that's when you put down the salt, and that's when you do the sage, if you can. But hopefully, just everybody has their protection on, and you're just dealing with an obstinate child.
What if you are not working at a location? What if you are dealing with something in your own private location, your own home, or something?
Then I tell it to get the fuck out.
And that's what I was gonna bring up too. If you're in your own location,
I mean, we're all free will creatures.
That's what I was gonna tell you too.
And I don't have to entertain you.
And if you're trying to cleanse your area because something negative has come in, you can cleanse it to get out, but you can simply say, this is designed for, I want anything negative to be out, but anything that is peaceful can stay. I mean, you can make that arrangement. That's your call. That's you making the rules. But so I'm reading ahead because
and if I got to sit in my chair on my front lawn going, get off my lawn, I will.
Sitting with the hose. Come on, bring it on. So
come on. Oh, hose my ass. I got a shotgun.
And Rosie says sometimes. So you're originally from Iowa.
Yep. Born in Iowa, raised in Oregon, lived in California 20 years against my will. I live in California too. So moved back to Oregon, found it was no longer my home, and moved to Tennessee, where I have not been happier in my entire life.
So this question is simply because you know what the winters are like here, because we're in Omaha, Nebraska. We're around that area, Omaha, Nebraska. And she says, sometimes I stand outside in the winter at night, my video on, and ask questions just to see what I get.
That's so much fun.
But I want to give you the reference of where we're at, because I knew you were born in Iowa and you lived in Iowa beginning.
Oh yeah, I remember those winters.
Yeah, they're still,
and and I still love snow.
Where are you at in Tennessee? May I ask?
I am right near the Kentucky border. I live in Portland. Yeah, I'm just like 5 miles from the Kentucky border.
I'm just wondering because I go to Nashville a lot for work, and I travel up that way a little bit. Yeah, just wave. Yeah, and that's what Jessica, she says, that's what I say. I say anything negative is not welcome or wanted. Exactly. That's all you're really going to do.
Yeah, that's all you do. And I mean, if they're touching you and you told them not to touch you, it's like, hey.
Right. No. My rules, my place.
Yeah. No.
So, any place that you...
They're just ghosts.
What's your number one? Number one. What is your number one bucket list place to still go?
I gotta stick with this one because the ones in the United States change all the time, and the list just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. My bucket list is going to Scotland and investigating with my cousin Peter and Anna Ling, who run Argyle Ghost Guides.
Really? That'd be awesome.
Yep.
That'd be fantastic. Yep. I know that.
Yeah, that's one of the little gifts that I have is I find family. One day I asked her. I said, so Anna, your maiden name's blah blah blah. She goes, yeah. I said, I've got some of them in my line. Do you happen to have a Conan in your line? She goes, yeah.
We're cousins.
And the same thing happened with JD Hill. He wanted me to help him with his ancestral tree. And as I was doing his tree, I kept saying this name popping up that I'm like, why is this constantly happening? Because they'll make the ancestors make themselves known. Let's just put it that way. So this name kept popping up, and I went and I looked in my tree, and it was there. spelled exactly the same way. They came from the same place in Switzerland. Switzerland or the Netherlands? Like Netherlands, I think. I can't remember which one it was. I'm like, oh my God, Jay, we're related. So Jay is my cousin.
Rosie wants to know if you've ever investigated a cemetery.
I do like cemeteries, but I also look at them as what was on the ground before it became a cemetery. Because honestly, I've not gotten really much of anything at a cemetery. What I did get from a cemetery was a Civil War soldier walking outside the cemetery's border.
Really?
So I didn't catch that one. I did see it though. And why would you hang around where your body was anyway? You'd be off with people that are having fun and enjoying life, and why you hang out in the cemetery? That's what although give me a full moon, a bagpiper, a violin, and a really, really nice bottle of wine.
And you're golden.
Perfect. And a nice night.
Yeah.
And a nice night.
Yeah, we're kind of the same thought process.
That'd be a great
on the cemetery. But Nikki and I stopped at one when we were coming back from where were we at, Nikki? We were at the Valiska House.
He's got to ask.
We were at the Valiska House, and we were coming back. And we stopped at a smaller cemetery, and walking around, I saw a lot of markers for military. So I was reading their names out loud, saying, "Hey, I want you to have recognition for who you are." And I said one of the names of the military folks, and it came through our recorder back at us with the same name.
Wow,
that's kind of cool. Awesome. Yeah. So
that's
Nikki
awesome.
is asking another question for you. Do you find places you have investigated more than once have changed with spirits, entities? Do you think these places are getting infiltrated by other spirits and entities by investigation teams bringing in something that is attached to them? Whew, that's a lot of breath.
Okay, that's a lot. Oh, you didn't leave it up so I could reference it. Okay, I'm going to reference it over here. Okay, so that's actually one of the things that I do is I do go back to locations all the time, because how can you get proper data if you can't repeat it?
Yep.
So therefore, I go back and I try things. Octagon Hall, which is just across the border up the road here, where that's like my home haunt, is different every single time I go. I've never had anything repeat yet. It's still bringing on new stuff, which is very interesting. So, a couple of the other ones I haven't been able to get back to yet, but it's one of the things that I do all the time. Like I went back to Randolph, couldn't get that one to repeat. Went back to the Octagon Hall. We've got a private client that we have gotten the same thing to repeat. I have Civil War soldiers whistling their positions in a warehouse. I guess that warehouse wasn't there before. So.
Yep.
No, yeah. So that was an interesting one because I thought it was going to be pipes. In fact, they do have whistling pipes, but these whistles that were happening in the one part of the warehouse, there's no pipes in there, and they do have human quality to them. And now now the entities that are there in the building stop the opening. The girl who comes in and opens, the woman that comes in and opens the store every day is one of our crew members. And Pamela went in, and Pamela's walking by the area where all the whistlers are. And she said, they were asking for you. Apparently they said, "Where's Kelly?" And Pamela said, "Well, I'm pretty sure she's at home. Is there a message I can give her?"
No, thank you.
Oh my God.
Have you? So there's a location up by Cedar Rapids, Edinburgh Manor.
Yes.
And Kat Armstrong is pretty good about taking people around there. But she has noticed, and I have too, because I've been live with her a couple of times when she's gone to investigate. She's done camera work for us and stuff like that. And we noticed that when she was there for quite a long while, one entity seemed to be the strongest entity, and the house worked one way. The manor worked one way, but it seemed not too long ago, a different entity came over and took over as leader, and the whole energy has shifted.
Was that house ever a
I
boarding
don't
house?
know. I don't know the history of it.
Okay, so or if they had
I believe they
visiting
have, yeah.
people
I believe they
staying
did,
there.
yeah.
Okay, so I have the same problem
Okay.
here. There must have been a house here, or this one probably here somewhere, that was a like a roadside bed and breakfast
Okay.
eons ago. And I have ghosts that come through, and they're here for maybe a day or so, and then they're gone. Some of them stay for a little while, and then I start blaming things on them,
Yeah.
and they leave.
Yeah, Tom says, Nikki says, Tom won't let me go to that house. We didn't go once. We were supposed to go on an investigation, and I had a terrible vision that she got injured very badly there.
So you decided not to let her do it?
I didn't go myself. I took both of us off of it.
Gotta be careful about that. Are you interfering with their karma?
It was something to where she was, the vision was she got jumped and overtaken and basically put her hand down into the the sink, whatever you call it, food disposal. And
the food
so
disposal.
I kind of stopped us.
They don't have them here in Tennessee.
Really? Well,
yeah.
They just feed the animals. Is that what they do? Just throw it out to the pigs. So
yeah. Or put it in the garbage. I saw more questions up there before the chat.
I have them all. Rosie's asking. You don't see the chat? That's weird. Rosie said, "Have you ever done a personal home investigation for someone who has ghosts just to help them out?"
All the time. We do privates. We do private homes. We do businesses. We do anything that goes bump in the night. Doesn't matter to us.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Yep. We are here to help people, and we've done. There's been some that we're like, you really need psychiatric help.
Yeah.
But we do. That's the one thing that you have to be very, very careful of. And luckily, we've got a very, very strong group, and we all know what to do if we run into those people.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those we dealt with too. Mary is asking, can ghost radar apps work, or do they use AI through your microphone and camera to say words related to your questions and what you are doing?
Okay, so I'm going to put it this way. The official answer is, if it has electronics attached to it, it could be manipulated. There you go. That's a good word for it. The unofficial answer is, if it's got electronics attached to it, spirits can use that to communicate.
Correct. Yep.
So, is it? You have to be a judge of that, because there have been Estes sessions that we've had that made no sense whatsoever, and you just moved on. We've been in radar. Okay, so Estes sessions meaning the spirit box. And then there have been spirit box sessions that have been absolutely dead on. And there's another one that we're using right now. It's called get over here. Ghost Tube? Yeah, Ghost Tube.
Yep.
We've been using that one, and that was one that we used at Brushy Mountain, and everything was clicking right in with it. And then we used it at another location, and it didn't work again. So I'm still on the fence when it comes to the electronics. I'm not really a big fan of them, but they are.
Can I add something to that really quick? My thing is, I'm okay with some equipment, but if it has a sensitivity dial on it, like I'm gonna, like 10% or 90%, if you have a sensitivity dial on it, I think you're going to get more responses that are just very random. Like if I turn up a 90% sensitivity, I think I'm going to get a whole lot of words, even though I'm not asking any questions. Whereas if I'm like at a
Yeah.
30% sensitivity, if I'm asking specifics, then it may respond to my answers or give me some kind of answer, whether it's true or not. But I think those are just kind of more entertainment than they are actual works.
Yeah. I specifically Ghost
Yeah.
Radar. I played with that one for a long time. It was one of the first ones
Right.
that I ever
Yeah.
downloaded, and I played with it. And I was sitting there at work because the place that I worked was the old public
Okay.
library. So we were in a building that was repurposed, and I had it down sitting next to my desk, and I'm reading email, and I get to an email from a friend, and I'm reading the email, and it was a guy that I liked. On the Ghost app, popped up his
Oh,
name at the
yeah.
same time. So is
Yeah. But did
it
you say his name at any point? Yeah.
coincidental? No, I
Okay.
never said anything. No, I never
Yep.
said anything. Nope. And I'm really
Yeah.
good about that. I don't like saying things just to see
Right.
what's going to
Well, I
happen.
just, because there's always the big question of is Google or Alexa or Siri actually listening to us when you
Mm-hmm.
say a name? So if you say it, all of a sudden you get all these
Oh yeah,
responses on
yeah,
all these
yeah,
advertisements on your phone because something happened. You're like, well, that's kind of coincidental. So that's why I was asking, did you
yeah.
say a name at all that could have debunked that at all or anything? But yeah, so
No,
that's good. Um,
yeah.
Jessica wants to know, what would you recommend to get rid of negative entities so they don't inhabit or hurt other people again?
We'd have to get
Yeah,
more specific about that because it depends on what you
yeah.
have. I mean, and I'm going to use this term extremely lightly. You may have something that may not have walked this
Hmm.
earth as a human. You may have a human entity. You may have a animal entity. You may have an elemental. It depends on
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah. So there's many different answers to that one because I mean, some are as
Mm-hmm.
simple as just simple sage, and just
Mm-hmm.
intent or whatever else.
And some are even more simply with
Right,
fuck off.
right. Get the hell out. Yeah,
Works.
not playing your
Yeah.
game anymore. Go
Yeah.
away. Um,
No.
but yeah, I mean,
Go
so it
away.
really does depend completely, Jessica, what you're dealing with at the time, and the way to find out is, I mean, that's when you start talking to someone else who may be able to.
I mean, I'm happy if you want to message me
Yeah,
with a specific situation. I can give you my witchy advice, but
yeah, and you can reach out. I mean, Kelly's got a Facebook page. Um,
yeah, I got
and
a
there's
Facebook
all of her
page.
other
Yeah,
stuff down here. You can probably reach her through there too. I'm sure she
yeah.
has contact me through these things.
I'm not real quiet
So no,
online.
you're not. Again, that's how I found you. That's
I
because we talked
know.
about
I'm so loud.
but I appreciate it though because there's a lot of stuff that you put on there. I'm like, I kind of like that one. Um, well, that's interesting. She says this one I've seen suck the life force out of people to the point to where they literally looked gray. Energy vampire, maybe.
Was this the same one that you were talking about before?
Yeah,
I can't see the
it's I'm
chat,
I'm
so
watching her pop in to what she says, but that's the last two
okay.
messages she posted.
Because that's kind of I well, I'm not a big I don't know quite how to put this. The, we need to be really clear that we're not dealing with just somebody that is a ghost and was grumpy
Right.
in life. I mean, there are people that are really
Her
really
answer is
negative,
yes.
and I know. Okay, so that type of thing I encountered at the Mokalumi Hill. So I at the Ledger Hotel. So I understand that type of an energy. We did a specific ritual to make it leave. And then we could not leave the hotel unless we had a cleansing oil on our wrists. So we had to stay in the hotel for like a day before we couldn't like pop out and pop back in because it'd come back with us. It's the entity that's out. Well, there's one entity out there that's a doppelganger. So I don't know the entire portfolio of this entity. Yeah. I don't know if there's one or many, but the one that I encountered did the same thing, and the person, looked gray. But they came back after we got rid of the entity. But I tell you which ritual that was? No, because I didn't design it, and we had to burn the instructions after we were done, so it wasn't kept.
But again, that may be,
and I could find,
but that may be something that she'd be able to reach out to you to ask more.
Yeah, I could find one for you. Good. But it depends on what it is you have. That's the first thing. Yeah.
So I want to talk about I actually want to talk. You have your book that you put out. Mm-hmm. Do you have another one coming out? Because that one's like collections number 1.
It's going to come out.
Collections number 1. So if you're numbering them, that means there's got to be a 2 in word.
There's going to be a due. There's going to be a due. It's going to be collection due. And I've got stories already set aside for it. In fact, I've had to trim those down. So there will be a 3. There will be 2 and there will be a 3. And then in the meantime, I'm working on another.
Are these strictly paranormal related books?
Those are all paranormals. Yeah. The paranormal pages will always be paranormal. I just did. It will be, if I run out of adventures to write about, I'll write about other people's adventures. So it's always going to be about paranormal adventures.
I didn't know if you touched
everything in the book. Everything in the books has happened to me. And it's all of it's stated the way it happened. It may have been jazzed up a little bit for your reading pleasure, but everything is stated truthfully. So,
do you change the names of people to protect their identities?
Some of them I have. Other ones I've asked. I've asked them if I could use it, and they said yes. Yeah. So they got a signed book in appreciation. So.
I know one of the earlier questions. It's up there a little ways, but one of the earlier questions is, do you take newbies along with you to investigate because there's someone who lives in your area?
Every single time.
See that? I believe.
That's actually why Kelly's Haunted Adventures was formed.
Yeah.
Kelly's Haunted Adventures, it was formed to take people that were interested in the paranormal and wanted to find out what it was like to be an actual investigator for a night.
And is it an overnight that you do it?
Depends on where it is. Depends on who I've got, what I'm doing. I invited a couple up to the one that we were going to do last weekend, but my team got sick.
Great.
Yeah, we do take people along with
I believe
us.
That was.
Sometimes you have to wait a bit to do it, but
I believe that was Wendy.
And the reason why I do it is because somebody gave me the opportunity, so it's mine to give it back to the rest of the world.
And that's Nikki's and our goal right now is when we start back up our investigations again. We were part of a team. We're no longer part of that team, so now we actually like joining different types of teams to see how each one investigates. It's really, really interesting to see some of the things that people do that other teams may not have thought of. Or I want to ask, because we experienced this quite a bit when we were on our last team. There seemed like there was always another team that got to that location before us and just riled the shit out of everything. Like went in there antagonizing on purpose.
It happens.
But when we went in there, it seems like they were still mad at us because they were in there before us. Have you dealt with that? Where they've been like, look.
No, not really. Not really. I can't. So. Yeah. Probably because I take each location at face value. I don't go in with any kind of expectation as to what I'm going to find. We don't, has a set rule. We don't usually research before we go in. When I'm taking on a private case though, I will research it before we go in.
We normally don't. We never researched it, but we just knew like there was a team that was there before us because they used to be friends together until things went sideways. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden we'd get there and like the entities or the spirits, the ghosts, whatever we want to call them, were just like, they hated us, but we think it was tied because the group before us were just a hateful group that went in and tried to antagonize and just try to just piss off the ghosts to get action. And so when we showed up there the week
Yeah.
afterwards, they were
Good.
like, "Oh, these guys again. I'm not dealing with you guys," you know. So it was kind of sad that was a couple times that was the role we got stuck in, was the ones who were following afterwards.
Yeah.
Uh, Kathy wants to
Yeah.
know: were you able to investigate Bobby Mackey's before it closed?
No, and to quite frankly, I had no
Okay.
desire to do it. If I'd made it out there, yeah, but everything that I've heard about it was the stories were fabricated. So, and the newspaper articles were kind of backing that up. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm not a big
Oh,
music
okay.
fan when it comes to, it's like I'm musically dysfunctional. I can't remember songs, albums, artists, nothing. It does not file. It will not file. Don't even try. So it never appealed to me.
All right. Well,
do I wish I would have gotten in the last antebellum mansion that burned last weekend? Hell yes, I wish I would have gotten into that one.
Yeah, that would have been.
Oh my
that
god,
would have
that
been
was
wild.
a
That would have
loss.
been wild.
Oh,
Nikki,
that was a loss.
Talking about the places we went to where we followed those groups in, Nikki did respond with yes, but we were able to flip a couple of those places and spirits around, which was some really cool experiences. And we went into some of them that were like, they were, I mean, like I said, they were, and they presented themselves as something totally different. One of them told us it was a demon, and we just kept basically saying, look, you're not bad, you're not angry, something happened. You may be angry, but you're not bad. You're not what you're presenting yourself. And finally, it came up to us and said, "You know what? I'm actually not. I just felt like I wasn't loved in life. So, thank you for showing me the appreciation that you are now." Which is kind of, it was kind of interesting to see. But we finally broke its facade that it was showing us, and said, "Yeah, I'm really not a bad person, but some people have pissed me off, and this is just how I come in now." So.
And there's Diamond.
I see that. Pity. Doing a nice job.
Yeah, she has been on an investigation.
She's protecting right now. She's seeing what's outside.
Oh, there's dogs outside barking right now. She's trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, there we go. So
Rosie's.
Well, I haven't even eaten yet tonight.
I'm just going to finish this one up really quick.
Let's go to 8:30. We'll go to 8:30.
To what Rosie's asking.
8:30.
Yeah, for me, they may have seen the energy was the same, but I think they're just thinking that a team of investigators came in and they were dicks. So, maybe this other team is as well. So she's asking.
Well, we get that. We experienced that with some of our team members who are armed.
Oh yeah.
Because you can carry down here in Tennessee, and specifically at Brushy Mountain Prison, they would not do, the spirits would not do anything when he was in the block. And we were told why it was. It's because they think that they're law enforcement.
I carry a lot of times when I go investigation too, and I wonder if that shuts it down sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I see where that happens all the time. And the thing about, and I've got to go to the D word.
Oh, yep.
We all know, right, that demonic activity is less than
oh my goodness,
1%.
It is so small. I try to enlighten people all the time when they're like, "Oh, it was this." I'm like, "No, it didn't. It didn't rip your flesh open, and you're not bleeding like a stuck pig. It scratched you. That's not."
No, the number one hallmark of a demonic possession or demonic activity or demonic whatever is that nobody's talking about it. The people that are affected are not talking about it. The people around them are talking about how it's being affected, about how it's affecting, but not the person.
Nikki wants to know how your dog handled the investigations.
She went on one because we had a miscommunication. Well, no, I think he was going to be out. Her dad. We had a dog out of wedlock. So we both have code on the dog. So she goes to Dad's house every now and then, and she comes over to my house. So when I'm traveling or doing Kelly's on Adventure, she usually goes to his house. Well, something happened to where I had to take her with me because he wasn't available. So she doesn't like new places. She was not properly socialized. I got her out of a rescue situation, and so she's been
Yeah.
challenged. Um, but she got to the point of where she was walking around in the dark and not even worried about it. She'd come back every now and then. She'd say hi, and then she'd go wander off. And I'm like, okay, what kind of dust bunnies are
Right.
you eating? What snacks are you eating that somebody dropped? And she came back one time, and this was just one of those amazing times with the Estes session. We had her in there, and my friend Gina, who's on our crew, was underneath the headsets, and she said, doggy, pretty doggy. And then the spirits started talking about Diamond. And I said, okay, what's my dog's name? Diamond. All right. What's my dog's nickname? Die. All right. What color is my dog? White.
Well, you're like, okay.
All right. What is the second color of my dog? And I'm looking at the dog, waiting for the word, waiting for the word, waiting for the word. Gold. Well, what we damned. Did you know that a red light on a brown spot looks gold? It was like, that was the coolest thing. That was the coolest Estes session I think I've ever had.
So you have two more questions before I can let you go. Rosie's asking, do you cleanse her, and does she have her own crystals?
Yeah, she's part of the crystal cave over here.
And Nikki wants to know, did you feel like she picked up on any of the spirits or could hear the spirits?
No, I'm still wondering if I want to do that with her, because you know that they can see them, and they see other wavelengths that we don't. And I'm like, she didn't react to anything, but I don't know. I don't know if she would or not. I don't know if she'd actually see anything. All the people that I've seen use dogs have given up. I don't see any teams with dogs anymore.
True. Yeah. I know that our old teammates brought their little Chihuahua on an investigation with them, and that dog was just always on pins and needles for stuff that was happening.
Well, those are nervous dogs anyway.
But she's actually like one.
And then you put it in a haunted location. Who are you?
She's one that kind of nestles up and just sleeps all the time. But on the investigation, like when everyone else is sleeping, when you got up, she was just up and watching. Like, I'm your guard dog. So.
Yeah, she'd be sleeping. Yeah, Diamond would be sleeping on my legs.
Well, all right. On that, I'll let you go so you can go eat. But I want to say,
I don't even know what I'm going to eat yet.
Thank you for coming on. For anybody who has not paid attention yet, Kelly's Haunted Adventures is scrolling across the bottom, along with the K2 Paranormal Research right here on the bottom. If you are listening to this, you can actually go out and you can find this listed on my page, because I'm going to put it out there so everyone knows where I'm at. They can go out and take a look at mine. If anyone at all has questions for Kelly after we're off of here and you cannot find her for some reason,
hit me up.
You are more than welcome to contact me, and I will reach out to Kelly on your behalf if anything comes up along that way. Uilani Ku'ule says, mahalo, Tom, Kelly. Everyone, great show. Always learning new things. Very helpful information. But thank you again for coming on. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome.
The time flew by. We did an hour and 20 minutes, so it flew right by. I love the fact that you shared a lot of information for people who are just maybe starting out, or a lot of the new things, because that's literally why the show is called Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook, is for people who are trying to learn as well. If you have anything...
I tried not to be too overly informative.
You did great. Trust me. I understood it, so that means everybody else understood it. So I consider myself the lowest common denominator, so as long as I'm understanding it, everybody else is too. So
Got it.
But other than that, have a great dinner. I'll be in contact with you again soon, but much love. Thank you for coming on, and I will talk to you again soon. Right? I want to say
okay. Y'all Thanks. Have fun.
Bye. All right, everyone, that's our show. Once again, I'm going to throw my stuff up there really quick so everyone knows where to find me at. I am literally right here, Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. Everything that you can possibly find me under is under Stuff I Never Learned. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Instagram. It's all under Stuff I Never Learned. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me at stuffineverlearned@gmail.com. Very easy to find me. I had to make it simple enough that I remembered everything, so I know you all can remember it. Let me find out when my next show is, because there's so much traveling coming up for me. I'm just trying to pay attention to when my next show is. So give me a second. As always, I got to pull up on the phone to see what my guest schedule looks like, because I don't remember it week to week. So my next show is 2nd of June. It is a wonderful lady. Her name is Tori Westhoff. She is actually south of me, down in the Kansas and Missouri area. I'm really interested in talking to her because besides just doing the paranormal stuff and everything else that we do, she now owns her own mortuary that is now a location that we are allowed to go investigate. So, wanting to talk to her, bring her on, kind of see if there's anything new going on in the new place that she's got, and just kind of pick her brain as well. And she's just south of me, so I'm really looking forward to getting our chance to go down there and investigate that place as well. Other than that, again, that's not until the 2nd of June. But until then, stay safe. Much love. If you have anything, like I said, reach out, ask me questions, send me comments. I don't care. I'm always here, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Other than that, stay safe.